Hey, friendly neighborhood geek here. Or should I say spooky neighborhood geek here, since it's almost October. I guess you could say I'm kind of done for the moment with my YouTube spotlights. Now I'm gonna kind of get back into my horror um, reviews. Last October, I believe, I went all out for Halloween. I mean, I had so many reviews. Maybe some I could have did better, but that was when I was first starting out. So like I said, I had so many reviews. I didn't even have time to upload them all for Halloween, or before the month was over. That's how many I had. Um, so today I want to talk about a horror anthology. If you guys know, I love horror anthologies. It's like my favorite, I guess, subgenre of horror outside of like sci-fi horror and slashers. So I am going to be talking about in my opinion, a pretty bland movie called Grim Prairie Tales. So short horror stories that take place during the prairie, during that era, like Little House on the Prairie. I forgot what you would call that genre or era, but horror stories that would take place during that period, which sounds really cool, but the execution was really not that great, unfortunately. I saw this on YouTube. If you're interested, you can check it out on YouTube. This was directed by Wayne Coe. Not familiar with him. Cool, I guess. This came out September 14th, 1990, I believe. So, okay, early 90s horror movie. This stars the only saving graces of this movie. This stars James Earl Jones and Brad Dourif. If you don't know who those people are, I don't know what to tell you. Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky from the Child's Play franchise, and he's been in a crap ton of other movies. Veteran actor, awesome, always does great with the material he's given for the most part. And James Earl Jones, he was the voice of Darth Vader. He was in Coming to America, 1 and 2. Again, he's just a black veteran actor. Um, he was Mufasa in Disney's The Lion King, and I believe he was Mufasa again for a second time in the live action one that a lot of people didn't like. So again, two veteran actors. Their chemistry was really good, and they kind of carry this whole movie. Like I said, they did good with the material that they were given. Um, yeah, so basically, let's get this ball rolling. Basically, the story is we start off with Brad Dourif's character, who is in the middle of the desert. He's made a fireplace. Apparently, I think he's traveling on horseback. He was traveling to like another town or something. I forgot. They say which one. I can't remember. To go see his wife. He was traveling. He's going home to see his wife or something. He comes across James Earl Jones' character, who asks to join his campfire. Apparently, James Earl Jones is a bounty hunter, I guess, and he was hunting some um, killer or criminal or something. Um, so to pass the time, James Earl Jones character suggests telling stories. And I think Brad Dourif's character is a writer, so he's like, yeah, okay, cool, you know. So I think in total there's three stories. One, again, the story, like I said, the whole concept of this movie was really cool, but the execution was not that good, in my opinion. Like, I don't even know if I really want to say spoiler warning, because again, if you're interested, you could watch this. Yeah, give it a watch. You know, I think it's worth watching once, at least once. This is something you would just really have in the back in the background while you do other stuff, um, or if you and a group of friends got together to watch a bad horror movie and you find joy in doing that, and this is something you could watch. So first story, there's no okay. So first story, we have a old man like traveling through like an Indian burial ground or something, and I guess it's like the plot twist is that he's died, I think, or something, and now that's like that place is his final resting place or something like that. I can't remember. It was boring. The first story was kind of dull. Um, Story number two, which I guess is a little bit more interesting. So no, I take that back. There's four. I believe there's four stories in total. So story number two, a man is again traveling through the desert. He comes across a woman who she tells him that she was ran out of town, and she appears to be pregnant. So of course you see an attractive woman by herself. She's pregnant in the middle of nowhere. Of course, you probably would be willing to try to help her. Um, of course, we find out that I guess I won't spoil this story because it had a good plot twist, but the execution it just kind of left more questions than answers. But it did have a good plot twist, so I guess I won't spoil the second story because it's kind of it's okay. It's better than the first one. I'll say that much. So yeah, story number two is decent. I didn't care for the ending because it was kind of a bad ending, but yeah, I won't spoil what happens. So okay, let's get through this. Story number three. Um, there's like a man, his wife, and his daughter. They travel to start fresh, like build a house, like build, I guess I don't know if they bought the property, but they uh was it they decide to stay on this property and build a home and start a new life there. Some I guess some policemen from the town that they previously came from, came to get the dad. They needed his help to get rid of some people or something. From what I could tell, I think they were racist. I'm not entirely sure. And the people they were trying to get rid of may have been people of color. I'm not entirely sure on that. It was kind of hard. It was kind of hard to figure out, what the bad things that these men were doing, like what they were doing was wrong. Um, or maybe it was Native Americans. I'm not sure. That they were trying to get rid of. But the daughter, felt like what her father was doing was very bad, very awful, and she kind of like didn't want to really be in his presence anymore. And her mom was kind of like I love your father. You love him too. He loves you. Accept him for who he is. Which I don't know that it wasn't a good story. Like it just the whole premise was just very negative and grim, and the ending was just kind of negative. Like the daughter just accepts her dad for who he is, even if he's doing these bad things to innocent people or something. It was not cool at all. It was a very very poorly written story. Um, so that's three. Four is about a gunslinger, or yeah, gunslinger. He wants to be hired by this rich man, but the rich man has another gunslinger who wants to be hired by him. So he has the two gunslingers have a duel, and our main character ends up beating the other gunslinger, but the other gunslinger I think cursed him or something. Now he's seeing visions of him, and again, cool premise, cool concept. Execution was a little meh, and the ending was okay. It was all right. So once these stories end one by one, we cut back to Brad Dourif and James Earl Jones having dialogue between each other. It was really entertaining. Like I said, them together, their chemistry was really good. They carried this movie. Um, Ignore that notification if you heard it. PSP sound effect notification. Um, so again, Grim Prairie Tales, disappointing. Again, it's worth watching maybe once or twice. James Earl Jones and Brad Dourif carries the movie. They're the best parts of this movie. If you just want to see the two of them interact together, ignore. I recommend it. Check it out if you're interested. Yeah, peace, you guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here, doing another B horror movie review. This time on Hobgoblins. Oh my goodness. I've only seen this once. I've been meaning to watch it again. I recently found out that there was a sequel in 2009. I had no idea this movie had a sequel. So dang. 1988. This movie came out in 1988 and got a sequel in 2009. A whole decade had passed by that point. That's insane. This is directed by Rick Sloan. Cool. The only well-known, I think there may have been a few, but the only well-known actor I know from this movie is Darren Norris, who at this point, like a veteran actor. I don't know if you would say he's a character actor. He's done a lot of voice work. He was, I think his name was Gordy. On For anyone who ever saw Ned Declassified School Survival Guide growing up, he was the janitor. Um, like I said, he's been a lot of stuff, but I think in this movie, this is when he like kind of first started out as an actor. So I don't think he played the main character in this movie. But I do remember, in like a anniversary, like an anniversary video that was made some years ago with the cast, he did say, he enjoyed working on it. He doesn't regret being a part of this movie, so that's cool. Yeah, this is considered, I think, one of the worst movies ever made. I think it only has like 1 star on IMDb. It's kind of considered like a knockoff of Gremlins. I do think the story is kind of creative, or yeah, creative, stands out a little bit from Gremlins. But for anyone who's seen my Konga slash Queen Kong reviews on the King Kong knockoffs, there's knockoffs of a lot of different properties and movies, and there's a market for that. I mean, there are people who like those type of movies. I'm one of them. Um, so yeah, I like I said, I like these type of movies. So I'll definitely check out two, maybe in a couple of days. I'll definitely get around to reviewing Hobgoblins 2. Um, so what is this about? Oh my goodness. So apparently the Hobgoblins are aliens. I also forgot I can't remember. I feel bad. The person who designed the puppets themselves, I think, was a well-known um uh what is it? Prop creator, prop designer, whatever the right terminology is. So again, that's cool. That, like I said, the creatures themselves, the puppets do look good. They are well quality looking creatures, but it's the story that's whack. So okay, like I said, so I believe they're aliens. They have the ability to grant your wish. Like, so say you wanted a new car or something, and they read your mind and they give you the car you wanted, and you're like excited, really happy. You hop into it, maybe take it for a test drive or something, and then maybe the car starts having issues, and then maybe it blows up, maybe it catches on fire, maybe you get into an accident and the car explodes. Something like that would happen. So it's like they granted you your wish. You got this brand new car you've been wanting for however long, but then as soon as you think it's all fine and dandy, something bad happens to you, or something crazy happens to the car. So that's kind of how they work, basically. So if they give you what you want, but it ends up bringing you destruction, or ends up K-wording you in some shape or form. Um, the movie I did a little while ago, like last year, earlier this year, Sorority Babes and the Slime Ballerama. Check that review out if you haven't. That movie is all over the place. It also got a sequel, which I haven't seen yet, but I'll review that as well when I get a chance to watch Sorority Babes 2. But like with that movie, the creature in that movie could grant you your wish, but it could end up killing you in some shape or form down the line. So we have a security guard who works on like a movie lot or something. He the aliens, the hobgoblins, had landed in front of him, like when he was younger, like years ago when he kind of first started. he figured out like that they were dangerous and the type of powers that they had. So he found a way to imprison them in the lot, and nobody knew about it but him. So all those years that he worked, he made sure that they wouldn't escape, or they wouldn't cause harm to anybody or anyone else. So fast forward several years later, he's a lot older. He's close to retirement. His boss is trying to hire new guards so he could mentor them, so they could eventually take his place for when he retired. But they always, like, I think he would show them the hobgoblins, or they just randomly discovered them. I can't remember. But they would always find the hobgoblins. They would fall for the hobgoblins trap, and they would end up dying. And it's kind of dark because, like I said, the new security guards get K-worded, and the old security guard tells his boss that they quit when in actuality they died, which is that's pretty dark. So we finally meet our main character, our other main character, who gets hired to be the security guard. The old security guard tells him, kind of breaks it down to him what they do, and he eventually shows him the hobgoblins. Our main character accidentally breaks them free, and so our main character, the old man, or the old security guard, the main character's girlfriend, his best friend, who's a loser, um, his girlfriend's female friend, and her boyfriend, who's in the military, all kind of have to work together to destroy the hobgoblins or imprison them again, re-imprison them. And like it's a lot of weird stuff happens. Some of their wishes get granted, and they almost end up getting K-worded. And I mean, it's watchable. Again, it's just something you would maybe have on it playing in the background, or it's just okay. Do I think it's one of the worst movies ever made? I don't know about that. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a couple years, so I don't know. My opinion on it may change the second time I see it. I just look at it, just a fun, dumb B movie. I mean, it came out in 1988. It's like the 80s had a lot of had a lot of good horror movies, but also had a lot of forgettable or bad horror movies. So like I said, it's cool. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's cool. I like the concept. I like the cast. They do good with what they're given. It's just a fun, dumb B movie. So yeah, I recommend it, and I'll definitely, I'll definitely check out Hobgoblins 2 because I really want to know what happens in that movie. I'm just blown away. I had no clue there was a 2, and it came out in 2009. That's crazy. Yeah. So if you're interested, check out Hobgoblins. I believe it's on YouTube for free, or you can find it on a free streaming service. Yeah. Peace. Peace. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here, doing another horror anthology movie review. This time from 2015, Tales of Halloween. Yeah, I discovered this, I want to say maybe like 2019, 2020. Um, it's cool. This is cool. You can see behind me. I'm not all the way up here. I can't see. I'm not sure if those are the directors, because this movie had several directors, or if those are just well-known actors in this movie. But you could read that for yourself. You can see One Night, One Town, 10 Chilling Stories. So I'm not sure if all these stories take place in one town. If it does, that would be amazing. That would put a totally different spin on this movie, since I've seen it twice at this point. I'm not sure. But yes, there's 10 stories in this anthology. It's like an hour and 15 minutes or something. So it's relatively long. You can watch it on YouTube for free or Netflix. Cool. I originally saw it on Netflix. So what is Tales of Halloween about? Well, like I said, it's just several different stories. There's a few well-known actors in this that I recognized. I don't remember their names. I just remember their faces. So, yeah. But if you see them, or you can look up the cast. But if you see them in the movie, I'm sure you might be able to tell. Like, oh, I've seen that person before. Um, like I said, so each story is different. Like for starters, there's a story that there's two guys, which is really really funny. Two guys kidnap a rich man's son, or so they thought it was his son. But there's a plot twist when they find out that who they kidnapped was living with the man, but wasn't his son. The man was pretending that it was his son, and we find out why. That's a really good one. I don't want to spoil it because you'll get a good chuckle out of that one. There's one which is like a weird parody of like this. Apparently, there was a group of people. There's only one. We're down to our one final girl, which is a horror trope. Our final girl. Um, she's being chased by a masked man who's like a parody of Jason Leatherface, or the character from the Hatchet horror series. He ends up K-wording her. Then an alien, a little claymation alien shows up, trick or treating, asking the killer for candy. The killer is like trying to tell him like, I don't have any candy. I don't have anything to give you. And the alien just keeps asking over and over again. So he ends up K-wording the alien, and some other shenanigans happen. But it's really fun because it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just a straight up parody of the slasher genre, I guess the sci-fi horror genre. It's dumb and stupid, but it's really funny. Um, there's one weird one where I guess imagine Hansel and Gretel, but if Hansel, the brother, got into an I guess abusive relationship with the witch, who's somewhat keeping him prisoner at her home. Um, she wants to have a baby, but she's not able to, so she's trying to kidnap little children who might stop by to trick or treat. And again, it's a weird one, but it is entertaining. I really like the concept they had going for it, but like I said, it's a weird one. Um, we have one where a there's these three young people who are just evil and crazy and all types of effed up. And apparently, in their youth, when they were younger, they K-worded a family. Like there was a boy who lived with his parents in like a trailer. They set the trailer on fire, K-worded his parents. So when he became a young adult, he wanted to get revenge for what they did to him and what they did to his family. Um, he ends up doing some type of ritual that summons a demon to get rid of them. Um, it's good. I like the build up, but this is kind of a spoiler. Our villains get K-worded off screen, so we see the demon like we see it in all its glory briefly, and then it cuts to our main character, and we see from his point of view, he's seeing them get teared limb from limb, blood splatter. He's seeing it, but us as the audience don't see it. So, oh, excuse me. So again, I like the story. I like the build up to the demon, but we don't see the bad guys get their comeuppance. We see like the aftermath or whatever. I don't know. So again, that one was cool, but like I said, I wish we could have saw what actually happened to the bad guys. Another one. There's these group of children who I guess have their own little cult or something, and they all K-word a group of friends in a house, like a group of adults in a house who are just having a good time. Um, if you want to see little children just K-word adults, knock yourself out. There's one. There's one where a man he loves Halloween. He loves decorating. There's some neighbors across the street who he finds to be just annoying and irritating and bad neighbors, and they just go all out for Halloween, to the point where the man feels challenged, and him and the neighbor across the street get into a scuffle, and it doesn't end well. I won't spoil how it ends, but it's pretty gruesome. Uh, there's one where a little. Oh, I can't remember. There's one where a boy is being babysat by his babysitter, her boyfriend. They tell him a ghost story about a little boy who had crappy parents. His parents ate all his Halloween candy. That made him really upset, so he decided to K-word them. And apparently he grew up to be some type of monster or some shit. Who, let's just say some bad stuff happens to the babysitter, her boyfriend. Of course, they didn't deserve what was coming to them, but yeah, that's a good one. That I think that might be the first story. That's a good one. There's one where a man mistakes a little boy who's dressed as a devil as the actual devil and has him go off and do all this bad, evil, naughty stuff when he actually finds out the person he was looking for was in a house waiting for him. So all the bad stuff that the little boy did, he got it like not framed, but the police like I guess they were gonna arrest him. Like they all had their guns pointed at a little boy dressed as the devil. So I guess they were gonna arrest him for his actions. I don't know. It was okay. Again, it had a good plot twist. It was okay. And there's one with killer mutant pumpkins. That was wild. So again, there's a lot of fun ones. There's some that are just kind of okay, but for 10 to get 10 horror stories in one movie, that is an achievement in my opinion that they were able to do that. You know, most anthologies, like I've stated in the past, may do like 3 or 4, or the most you might get are like 5 maybe. So again, Tales of Halloween, it's fun. It's R rated. I didn't know that. It's R rated, so keep that in mind. But it's a lot of fun. This is definitely worth, you know, throwing on a Halloween party, getting together with a group of friends and watching it, and maybe just having it play in the background. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this movie. I don't know if it did all that well. I would love for them to make it too. There's a lot of anthologies that exist, horror anthologies that exist that I would like to get around to watching or maybe talking about. But like I said, Tales of Halloween, a lot of fun. I recommend it. Give it a watch. Check it out. Peace, you guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here, doing another children's Halloween movie review. This time on horror or Halloween TV movie special with a very interesting backstory called Crybaby Lane. Pretty cool name, honestly, for, you know, a children's Halloween TV movie. This came out October 28th, 2000. This was directed by Peter Lawyer. This was distributed by Nickelodeon. So this original movie appeared on Nickelodeon. So brief history about this movie. For a very long time, for maybe close to 20 years, this movie was considered lost media. Mostly because when this movie premiered, I'm not sure how many times it aired on television, parents thought it was too frightening for children and kind of, something on my screen, kind of, I think, spoke out about it or complained about it. So Nickelodeon never showed it again, and they pretended like it never existed. Of course, there were people who saw the movie and remember it, you know, vividly, and like, hey, whatever happened to that movie? So people started, you know, researching and digging, and eventually it was found. Like, I think someone may have recorded it on like a VHS tape or something and uploaded it to YouTube, and it started to get a lot of attention. And when that happened, then Nickelodeon, sorry, got a little interrupted. As I was saying, they So once all this attention about the movie came back, came into the public, then Nickelodeon started to acknowledge it again. And people were kind of like, like they just they never planned on ever bringing it back or acknowledging its existence. They only did it because, again, people start talking about it again. So what is this about? There's I think a few actors who kind of went on to be well known, but I didn't bother to remember their names, so I apologize. What is this movie about? Well, we have two siblings, an older brother and a younger brother. I think the older brother's name's Carl. I can't remember the younger brother's name, but our younger brother technically is our main character. Um, they're friends with the town. They live in a small town, so they're friends with the town's is a mortician. The person who owns the funeral home, who gets the bodies together and all that stuff. Um, yeah, I think they're friends with him. They always stop by and he tells them all types of stories, and he tells them the story of Crybaby Lane, which was about a farmer whose wife had Siamese twins or something, and one twin was good, one twin was bad, and they had a surgery to separate the two of them. Um, and some other stuff happens that I won't spoil. So the boys really like this story, and they have like a séance in the cemetery. Probably wasn't the best idea with their female friends, and they tell the story again. This time, they did. I don't think they didn't really know it was true, so they accidentally end up raising the spirit of the evil twin, who has the ability to possess people, and if you get touched by the person who's possessed or whatever, you can also get possessed, like a zombie in a sense. So that's going on. So ultimately, it's up to the younger brother, and an ally. I won't spoil who his ally is, or a couple allies to save the town. Um, which is really really cool. His character is kind of looked at as like weak and always scared of everything. So in the end, he kind of proves himself. Like he saved the town. He gained his courage, stuff like that. So again, the story, I like the story. It's very entertaining for a children's um, Halloween special, or whatever. Um, but I don't know, like I wouldn't say the acting's bad, but the way the parents act and the way the main character's older brother acts are kind of insensitive, and I don't know, just mean spirited. like parents, good parents wouldn't act like that, or older siblings wouldn't be complete buttholes to you or whatever. But yeah, so some elements I didn't think aged well. Like there's a scene where I think his brother was possessed by this point, and the female friends were also possessed, and they pull a prank on the younger brother, and he basically strips. Like I forgot, like his clothes get dirty or something. I can't remember. And he runs past like some people's house who has clothes hanging on a clothesline, and he grabs some of those clothes to cover himself up. Mind you, it was like cold outside. It's because it's fall season in this movie. So when we see the characters, we might see a little bit. We might see a little bit of snow, but we see the characters wrapped up in coats and hats and gloves. So we got this kid who's what, I think he's like 12, running through a field in his boxers. Yeah, that did not age at all. I mean, okay, the scene where he gets pranked, it's entertaining, but why did he have to take his clothes off? That did not sit well with me. That did not age at all. So keep that in mind if you decide to watch this movie. But like I said, the scene it doesn't last for that long. So yeah, um, the effects are okay. Like I said, it's just okay. It's an okay movie. I don't know if I would make it like a Halloween tradition to watch this every year. Maybe once every couple of Halloweens or something. I don't think it deserved to have been forgotten. I do think parents were overreacting. It's not really scary. Now, maybe if I was like 6, 7, yeah, maybe I would have found it to be scary. But like 8, 9, 10 years old, yeah, I don't think I would have been afraid of this movie. Um, but like I said, it's on YouTube. It's worth watching. It's something different. If you like if you like something like Goosebumps or Boy Who Cried Werewolf or My Babysitter's a Vampire or um, Goosebumps, which I think I may have named, yeah, I named Goosebumps. Then yeah, you would like this. You would definitely like this. So yeah, if you're interested, go give Crybaby Lane a watch on YouTube. Also, this backdrop, I got this from IMDb. This backdrop is completely false advertising. There was no killer with a knife in this movie. I don't know if someone just fan made this backdrop. I don't know. Um, but yeah. Like I said, go give Crybaby Lane a watch. Check it out. Peace, guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here doing another children's Halloween TV movie. I consider this a classic, even though I haven't seen it in years. I still remember it very well because of how often I saw it. I think every Halloween. R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour. Don't think about it. Yes, this came out September 4th, 2007. It was directed by Alex Zam. Interesting last name. This stars Emily Osment, who you can see behind me, Cody Lindley, Brittany, I can't see her last name, and Tobin, I can't see his last name either. But I'm sure for those 2000s kids like myself, you probably know Emily Osment as Lily from Hannah Montana. She played Hannah's best friend or Miley's best friend. And she was on another millennial type show, I think on Freeform. I can't remember the name of it, but and you see behind me, I didn't know this. I'm gonna see if I can find this on YouTube. It says exclusive music video from Emily Osment. Emily Osment. Oh, okay, okay. Yes, Emily has her own music video. I didn't know that for this movie. Um, Another thing that stuck out to me about her character, so Emily plays our main character. Um, they made her goth. So growing up, I knew her as Lily from Hannah Montana. So I always like interpreted in my mind that they just took Lily from that show and made her a goth girl. And I just think that's awesome and hilarious. Um, so what is this about, basically? Well, we so it takes place. I think yeah. So the actual night that the incident, our story like takes place, like the final part of the story, I guess, is Halloween. But basically, we have Emily Osment's character. You see, she's a goth girl. She's kind of seen as weird. She kind of keeps to herself. She likes horror. She likes supernatural type stuff. Um, the girl standing next to her, I think, is rather her rival or her bully. I can't remember, but I know I've seen her before. I might be getting her mixed with the one actress from Victorious. I don't think that's the same actress. The actress who played Jade. I don't think that's her. It could be. I don't. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to. I should have looked at the cast before I recorded. But anyway, so like I said, she plays Emily's bully. And our blonde haired guy right here is Emily's love interest, or Emily has a crush on him, and I think they do form like a stronger friendship or relationship towards the end of the movie. So, like I said, she kind of keeps to herself. She's kind of weird or whatever, seen as weird. And I think on her birthday, I'm not sure, she meets this man who invites her into his antique store. And he says I think she can pick out one free item or something. And she sees this book. You see the evil, I think it's called, yeah, The Evil Thing on the book. And she reads from it, I think once she gets home. Um, and the thing from the book starts to come to life. I think kind of like that movie, The Babadook. I've never seen that movie in its entirety. I think it might be similar to that, sort of, for anyone who's seen that movie. So it starts to come to life, and it's basically like this big two-headed creature type thing that starts kidnapping people. Like it kidnaps like a pizza delivery person. I think it kidnaps Emily's younger brother, who you see on the far right, and maybe a couple other people. And it creates like a den, like a nest, and it's trying to multiply. It laid eggs. I don't know how, asexually, I guess, like Godzilla from 1998. Um, yeah, so her love interest have to work together. I think the bully gets kidnapped, and they end up saving her as well. And she tries to get help from the man, and the man's like, "Nah, you read the book. You figure out how to stop it." Um, like like our man is mysterious. Like we don't know. Like is he like is he like a warlock? Is he like a creature in disguise? Like we really don't get a lot of information on who this man is and where he originated from. But he kind of starts. He's kind of the reason why all this is happening. If she had never met him, and if he had never suggested her the book, none of this would have happened. Um, but like I said, from what I remember, it's a really good movie. It's a gem. Like with the Goosebumps TV show and the Scary Godmother Halloween specials, Cartoon Network used to show this every year for a period. Um, and for whatever reason, they just stopped. I guess maybe different direction, different president of the network. I don't know. It's a shame they don't show these no more. Unfortunately, this isn't even on YouTube. It's on streaming. You have to pay for it. I'm sure if you go on like Google or something, you could probably find a website where you could watch it for free. That means you have to watch it on your phone or your tablet, unless you don't mind doing that. So that's kind of a bummer. There's no free way of watching this movie. I'm sure, like I said, I don't think it goes for a lot on streaming, but still, it's like it's an old Goosebumps movie, TV movie from 2007. It should be free. Um, but like I said, everybody in the movie did a good job. Very entertaining. I like the story. It's not too scary. Uh, the ending, oh boy, okay. So again, I'm not going to spoil for those who maybe want to see this and never seen it. The ending isn't bad, but it ends with like someone else reading from the book. Which was like I don't like that. So it's like, well, of course the movie, of course something like this probably wouldn't get a follow up, but why would you end it like that? Like just have it like the book is destroyed, the day is saved, etc. Like just have it end on a happy note. Not Don't give us that like possibility that the creature could return. I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but I won't. I'm not telling you how they killed the creature or what they ended up doing with the book. I'm not telling you all that. Um, but like I said, it's a good movie. Cast did a good job, entertaining. I remember, I always look forward to watching it every year, or however many years they showed it. Definitely worth your time, especially if you're a Goosebumps fan. For me, I grew up with the '90s TV show when they showed it on Cartoon Network. The way they advertised it, the advertisements were very, creepy and unsettling. Like they did a good job of getting you invested into the show, and I loved it. I think I've seen Goosebumps back to back, back to back, back to back. Is that rewatchable? There's 5 seasons. There's a few episodes I had never seen before, and I thought those episodes were okay. Um, then we had the Haunting Hour, which maybe had like 4 seasons, which was really really good. That was on the Hub. A lot of recognizable children actors from that period who a handful of them have gone off to do bigger, better things. Were on that show at one point. Haunting Hour was just a modern Goosebumps, but I thought it was very entertaining. Um, and then we've had the movies and we've had some specials. The first movie with Jack Black I thought was entertaining. The second one, it was okay. It was okay. Um, Felt a little too kiddie for me, but again, memory lane with Goosebumps. Give The Haunting Hour a watch. Highly recommend it. See if there's somewhere you can watch for free. Yeah, like, comment, follow. Peace, you guys. Hey, here's Spooky Neighborhood Geek here doing another brief Halloween horror anthology movie review. You might see a lot of anthologies this month because I love horror anthologies. Um, this is on Creepshow 2. This came out in 1987. Probably wondering why I'm starting with 2 first. Well, I really like 2. 2 might be my favorite out of the original, I guess, trilogy. I don't think 3 was all that good, and a lot of fans don't like 3. And there's only 3 stories, so you could watch this, yeah, in like an hour, I think. I think this is my favorite out of all of them. Creepshow 1 is really entertaining. I'm sure most people, if you're familiar with Creepshow, you're probably familiar with the new series that was on AMC, which I've watched a handful of, and that is entertaining. I do like that, but I prefer the older movies instead. So what is this anthology about? Well, first I want to say Creepshow originated from the great mind of Stephen King and a whole bunch of other horror film directors, too many to name. But I do believe Stephen and Tom Savini, who's another horror icon, worked on this. I'm sure maybe a handful of other horror icon people also worked on the second movie. So if you're curious about that, you can look that up for yourself. Um, so we start off with a little boy waiting for, I guess, to receive his latest comic through the mail or something. And the delivery person gives it to him. The delivery person looks like a monster and dressed in like a delivery driver uniform. So we kind of get some cool animated sequences with the little boy, and then it kind of cuts to some live action sequences with him and inside his house and his family or whatever. So that's cool. That was interesting. So the comic he's reading is Creepshow because I believe Creepshow originated as a comic like a long time ago, and then it got made into a movie or a series of movies. So what is the first story about? Well, we have an old Caucasian couple who live in a small town. I think mostly populated by Native Americans, and they have a good relationship with the people, the Native American people, and the owner. They own like an antique shop. The owner who owns the store has like a big, decently sized Indian chief statue standing out front of the shop. Um, so one of I think like the leader of the native people of the town, stops by. Um, the couple have been like really, helpful to them and have always, given them things and all types of stuff. And, they want to give back to the couple. And they give them like a family heirloom to hold on to until they're able to pay their debt back. So sometime after the Native American chief, or sometime after he leaves, his nephew and 2 of the nephew's friends rob the couple. And guess it's kind of a spoiler for a 30-year-old movie. And K-word them both. Guess kind of a spoiler. I guess I won't say what happens after, but you heard me mention a statue earlier. So that's kind of it might give you an idea of what happens next. But I will say the three young people get what's coming to them. And it's entertaining. Oh yeah, it's rewarding. It's entertaining. So story number 1 is good. Story number 1 is very entertaining. Kind of a slow burn, but towards the end, it really picks up. Story number 2, we have a group of friends. I think they're like college students. They go to like this lake to swim. I think they're like on summer break or something, or spring break, and there's some type of like toxic sentient creature in the water. It's kind of similar to the Blob. So if one of its tendrils was like to latch onto you, it could burn your skin or burn your hand off or something crazy like that. So they're like on this like little wooden like area where you can kind of like stand on in the middle of the water, and their car is up on shore. So it's like the creature is, in a sense, kind of like a shark, like it's like circling around them. They can't get in the water because if they risk getting in the water, the creature could get to them before they could reach the shore. So yeah, it doesn't end well for our group of friends. I won't spoil what happens, how it happens, but it's good. It's entertaining. Um, Story number 3. We have a lady. She's having an affair with another man. Um, so we see her so far. Our main character is kind of not that good of a person. On her way home, I think she's rushing to get back home. So I'm not sure if her husband was on a trip or out of town, and she's trying to get back home before he does. I can't remember, but she's rushing home, and I think a man, of course, it was a black man, and I think he was homeless. I think he was asking like her for some help or asking for change or something. And since she was rushing home, she ran him over. She ran over the homeless black man. I don't know if that aged well or not, but okay. And basically he turns into a zombie, I guess, and he keeps showing up and um keeps asking. So yeah, in a sense, he's kind of like getting revenge on her for what she did, and she gets her comeuppance in the end. So I think in between the stories, we cut to the little boy. He kind of has some supernatural sequences happen to him and his family, and those are entertaining. Um, so like I said, this one is only 3 stories, but then you count the segments with the little boy reading the Creepshow comic. I think that adds to the story. Um, but yeah, like I said, Creepshow 2 is a lot of fun. Um, when the curtain goes up, the terror begins. That's a nice little title, um, or whatever. But yes, Creepshow 2, a lot of fun. I think you can find it on YouTube or Tubi. I think it's on free streaming services. Definitely worth checking out if you're interested. I think this was R-rated though, so like there's swearing and there's a little bit of gore and stuff like that. So keep that in mind if you maybe don't really like a lot of that. But yeah, go. I recommend Creepshow. I might talk about the first one. I probably won't. I don't think I'll talk about 3. I've seen a little bit of 3. I don't think I've seen all of it, but 3 is not that good. 3, I think Stephen King wasn't part of that one or any of the other previous directors. I don't think they were part of that one. So 3 is not that good. Um, there's a couple other anthologies, real quick. I might talk about. There's one called Dead Time Stories, which is kind of like with Grim Prairie Tales. Is actually pretty good. I discovered that randomly. Um, I might talk about that one. There's also Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which was based off a show. That one's also really, really good. I think in that one we get like 3 or 4 stories. Um, and like I said, like we have our main story, like how the movie starts off, and then from there we get into all the other individual anthology stories. Kind of like how Creepshow 2 is set up. So I might talk about that one as well because that one's a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, that's like I said, that's it for Creepshow 2. It's a lot of fun, still holds up, very entertaining. Highly recommend it. Give it a watch. Like, comment, follow. Stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here doing another, excuse me, a mini movie slash pilot review. Yes, I'm talking about Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. She's awesome, horror icon. Her actress, I think her name is Cassandra Peterson. She's LGBTQ icon as well. Like I said, her character and her actress are just really cool, really awesome. Part of pop culture and horror pop culture. I haven't really seen much of like her actual show where she was host the movies. Sorry if you heard that. Sorry if you heard that again. I should have put my phone on vibrate. Okay, I put it on vibrate. Um, yes, I haven't seen her show where she was a host, and they would show um, all types of horror movies or whatever. But I did see her two movies. Yes, excuse me. Elvira had two movies. I believe one in the '80s and one that came out, I believe, like a couple years ago, like 2016 or something. Um, and she also had a pilot. Yes, she almost had her own like sitcom type of show that I think was in the '90s. I think the pilot came out in the '90s. I didn't really bother to like look up the exact date that the movies came out or the directors, honestly. I feel kind of bad, but I just want to like just casually just talk about these three Elvira projects. So I guess we'll start with the first movie. First movie, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I believe it came out in the '80s. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember it pretty well. So she finds out that I think she had like a relative or something who left her a piece of property, like a house or something like that. The house I think may be haunted, or there's like a our villain of the movie wants to get the property, and the only way to do that is if she's like I guess K-worded, taken out of the picture or something. And the antagonist may be like a warlock, or they try to get a hold of a spell book or something like that. Um, so she goes to the small town that her relative left her the house at, and of course the people there are like they think she's a witch. Like they don't like her, and I think they thought her relative was a witch as well. I think her relative was like an aunt or something. Um, so a lot of crazy, funny, hijinks happens while she's in town. Of course, the teenage audience, for obvious reasons, are are excuse me, really really intrigued with her. So she vibes with the young people in the town, and they kind of have her back or whatever. Um, so like I said, a lot of excuse me, a lot of fun stuff happens in the first Elvira movie. I think it's the best personally. Um, excuse me, definitely check it out. I think it's still on YouTube. Definitely check it out if you're interested, especially if you didn't know Elvira had movies. Movie number two. Um, Cassandra Peterson still looks like $1,000,000. Movie number two. I think she has like a companion, like another lady who's like her, not like her maid. Like I'm not sure I can't remember what the lady's role was, but she was Elvira's companion. And I think they were like, I'm not sure she was maybe on her way to like her next gig or something like that, and their car breaks down or something, or their transportation breaks down. They end up getting a ride from like a noble, so someone I guess of royalty who's like in a carriage with horses and stuff, and he takes them to this castle where I think he's meeting maybe like another individual who may be like our villain of the movie or something. And I think they're having like a dinner party with some other guests. So Elvira and her female companion end up staying overnight. And again, hijinks happen, spooky, comedic stuff happens. Yeah, I mean, two's cool. Two's it's okay. Like I said, it's just kind of weird. Like, first one came in the '80s, and the second one came like 2 decades later, a decade later almost. But I mean, yeah, two's fun. Two's cool. Like I said, if you watch the first one, you're better. It's pretty. You pretty much just go ahead and watch two just to see, how that holds up. So now we get to three. I'm not three. Now we get to the pilot. So I think it's a shame this pilot. Her pilot didn't get picked up. I thought it could have been really well. Basically, the best example I could kind of give you is that it kind of reminded me of like the Sabrina the Teenage Witch sitcom. Um, I'm sure people who grew up in the 2000s, you know what I'm talking about, where she had, her aunts in Salem. I'm not talking about the Netflix show, even though I really liked that show. I didn't like how it ended. It got canceled. Um, not like that. That show was more. The Netflix show was more darker, and it didn't follow a sitcom format. Um, But yeah, so like I said, the Elvira's pilot kind of reminded me of the Sabrina the Teenage Witch sitcom from the early 2000s. And I think it starts off with like I think like a rather it was a female friend or an aunt or something pops up for a visit, and then sometime later in the episode, Elvira finds out that like her niece or something or her goddaughter or something who ends up being a witch, or maybe she was going to school to be a witch or something, ends up showing up and having to come stay with her. So it's like now you got this older lady, and I got this younger lady living with who are about to, I think, start living with Elvira. And then a man comes over. I think he comes over to fix to like repair something. I'm not sure. She's trying to like be flirtatious with him, and there's like a whole bunch of other hijinks that kind of go on. Um, it's it was funny. I mean, it was entertaining. I just again, it sucks it didn't get at least like a couple seasons. You know, it didn't get greenlit. Um, I like the setup of her house. Like I said, it just kind of had a very macabre and very Elvira. So you know, that sucks. Like I said, she could have had her own show. Um, but from what I remember, that's kind of it for Elvira content. I mean, there's been like shorts. Like I know there was like a Christmas one, which was in stop motion, which was really cool. And then I know she did a crossover with Scooby Doo. Like she appeared in one of the Halloween Scooby Doo straight to DVD specials that came out like a couple years ago. Um, with the Scarecrow from Batman, which was wild, and Bill Nye the Science Guy. So that was really cool. But like I said, Elvira is just an icon, and she's just such a cool character. I might check out these comics because I think I knew she had comics, but I forgot about them. I'm very curious to know what these comics are about. But like I said, if you're interested, definitely watch the first movie. Definitely watch the second movie, and definitely check out the pilot and check out the shorts and check out that Scooby Doo movie because that Scooby Doo movie is pretty cool. Um, oh yeah, no, she actually I take that she appears in two Scooby Doo movies, but like I think like yeah like cameo roles or something. Um, so yeah, like, comment, follow, stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here doing another um, Halloween oriented or horror oriented video. This time, I believe my first time talking about the Resident Evil series. Me personally, I love Resident Evil. Of course, didn't like it as a kid. Seeing the commercials for the games and then the Mila Jovovich movies at the time really did not appeal to me. So it wasn't until I got older that I actually, liked them. The only game I've actually like played, all the way through and beat was Resident Evil 2, which I really like. I kind of do want to go back and try out Resident Evil 1. I played a little bit of Resident Evil 3, didn't get very far. I want to check out Zero, and the last Resident Evil game I played was 4, which was a little while ago. I want to hop back into it. The first version, not the remake, the original Resident Evil 4. So, like I said, I'm a diehard fan at this point. I love the lore, I love the characters, I love the story. Um, yeah, like I really like the franchise. So this is really interesting. This came out in 2000. This is Resident Evil, the 4D. What does it say behind me? 4D experience or Biohazard Executor in Japan. Resident Evil is called Biohazard, which is really cool. Um, yeah. So, like I said, so what is this about? Oh, this was directed by Kohata Oichi. Cool, interesting. So I believe this takes place in like an alternate universe, alternate timeline. This doesn't take place in the main series of games, where um, Raccoon City is still, what's the word? It's still in existence. I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but in the third game, they sent a nuke to the city and completely destroyed it. So, K-wording all the zombies in the city and stuff like that. So we have some military people, personnel who work for not Raccoon, who work for Umbrella, the corporation that's responsible for releasing the deadly viruses in the in the Resident Evil universe. They go to Raccoon City to retrieve some professor, or at least retrieve her work. The virus. I can't remember the name of the virus, but it's very powerful and very dangerous, and it may be the most dangerous virus in the entirety of the franchise. So it's probably a good thing that it's not non-canon, but it would be really cool if they were to make this virus and in this professor the professor character, if they were to make them canon. But since this came out in 2000, I don't know about that. I don't think they. If it's been 20 years, I don't know if they'll do it. Excuse me, make the concepts canon. So, like I said, the personnel they eventually find her lab. She's nowhere in sight. Something like a rat or a hawk or something tries to attack them. They keyword it, or maybe they come across like she turned into like, or maybe the professor turned to a monster. I can't remember, and they destroy her. But the virus is kind of like The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing. For anyone who's seen that iconic horror movie about about the group of men, I guess like they're like military research people, and they're in Antarctica, and they come across this creature which can make itself appear to be like another creature or attach itself to another creature or whatever. So that's kind of what the professor does. They K-word her, or they thought they K-word her, and a piece of her attaches to like a rat or something, and then it attaches to a crow, and then vice versa. It's able to like reform itself or something like that. There's still zombies on the streets, so that's pretty cool. But since they're slow moving zombies, they're not completely dangerous, because you could like just run past them or whatever. Um, so of course, bad stuff happens. Members of the team are getting picked off one by one. Um, and I won't spoil how it ends. I like the ending, but I don't like the ending because it ends badly. It ends with our characters not succeeding in their mission nor making it out alive. In a sense, the whole thing was a suicide mission, but I don't think they knew exactly what to have expected going in to this situation. Um, so, like I said, really cool and creepy concept. Like I said, the virus in this short film may be the most dangerous virus out of the entirety of the franchise. So for it to not be canon is really interesting. But it's a lot of fun. And from what I remember, I think this was shown in theaters. Um, and like with certain scenes would pop up, like the chairs that you would sit in the theater room, like would spray water on you or stuff like that. So that was really cool. Like I said, it's a shame that this didn't come over to America, or maybe this could have been like a unlockable on one of the games at the time. Like the like a secret unlockable or something. But again, it's a very cool, fun short film. Like I said, it's just kind of a shame it's not canon. Um, but I recommend it. I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's 3D animated. 3D animated. It's on YouTube for free. Some people have like upscaled the quality to make it kind of look a little bit more modern. So again, if you didn't know this existed, definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a Resident Evil fan or you just like short animated horror films. But yeah, go give Resident Evil the 4D experience a watch on YouTube. Peace, you guys. Hey, spooky neighborhood geek here, doing another horror movie review. This time on Hobgoblins 2, which for whatever reason, I think there was some type of error. My Hobgoblins 1 review has like 0 views and 0 likes. So when you watch this, go to my page and um, check out the Hobgoblins 1 review, because that review, like I said, I did. That's a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking about the first one. Um, so like I said, I don't know. Maybe I might have to like re-upload it or something. I have to see. Um, but yeah, Hobgoblins 2, still directed by Rick Sloan, who directed the first one in like the 80s, late 80s. This came out in June or July of 2009. It's not rated, and I think it only has like 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. Um, as for people, as you may know by now, excuse me, there are, when it comes to horror movies, there are B movies. When it comes to B horror movies, there are so bad they're good, and so bad they're bad. This would go in the so bad they're bad category. It's just, this movie was just kind of bland, honestly. It's like they really didn't try to do anything different. Like the main characters from the first one, um, who our main character in the first one was a security guard. That's a lot of information. Just go, like I said, go watch my first Hobgoblins review to get a better understanding of the characters and the story. Um, but the like I said, so they basically just used like the same characters, like not the same actors, but like the four main characters from the first movie. It's like they're just like the same. Like I thought, we would have new characters dealing with the hobgoblins in a new scenario. Well, we do have a new scenario. So basically, the four characters from the first one are in college, I guess now, and they're taking a class. They're studying like psychology or sociology or something. So they have a professor who works at a mental institution, and they study some of the patients and some of their conditions and stuff like that. Apparently, I think the man. I think he was recasted. The man who discovered the hobgoblins in the first one, I believe, he's in this mental institution. They think he's crazy, but when he's actually not. And now it's like, if you even think about them, or if you say their name, kind of like with Candyman, like they'll appear or show up or something. And again, their powers, they'll make your desires come true, and your desires may end up K-wording you in some shape or form. Um, the puppets, the hobgoblin puppets that you see behind me and that little Girl Scout, they were cool. The puppets were cool. It's just, like I said, the quality. I mean, I don't know what the budget was. The quality and the story was not, not that great. I mean, it's literally just something you may just have in the background, like on the computer, on the phone, doing work, and you just have it as background noise, eating a sandwich. Excuse me. You you just have this playing in the background. I mean, it's really, like I said, it like with the mental hospital storyline, and bringing back the, I guess, the same old man character from the first one. Again, it has some interesting ideas, but it just felt like kind of like a rehash of the first movie. And like I said, it's just really, really just bland, and I don't know. It just wasn't that good. I was expecting it to be better. But I mean, if you watch the first one, yeah, you might as well watch two. Like I said, the fact that Hobgoblins even got a sequel just blows my mind. So yeah, I don't know if I can really recommend this one. Like I said, if you like the first one, yeah, check out this one. If you were just interested and you hadn't seen the first one yet, no, I wouldn't watch this unless you've seen the first movie and you want to see a somewhat continuation of the storyline. Um, but yeah, that's kind of it, really. I mean, it was okay. I mean, the cast was okay. I don't know if they were amateur actors, or just the script wasn't that good, or they didn't have direction wasn't that good, or maybe it was intentional. Maybe they were trying to capture the spirit of the first one with its cheesiness and low budget quality, and um, maybe that's what they were trying to achieve. I don't know, but it was, like I said, it was kind of bland. Um, so yeah, check out. Like I said, go back and check out my first Hobgoblins video. Like I said, I have to see maybe there was an error when I was trying to upload it because I'm like, okay, the video I posted before that video got several hundred views. Then the one I posted after it got several hundred views. Like, how did people miss this particular review, this particular movie video? So yeah, check out the first one, or maybe put in the comments. Tell me if you don't see it on my page, then I'll have to see if there's a way for me to re-upload it. Um, but yeah, like I said, check out Hobgoblins 1, and if you're interested, check out Hobgoblins 2. Like, comment, follow. Uh, Peace, you guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here, doing another horror review. This time on some horror anime. Um, Yes, there's horror anime. I guess yeah, at this point there's a lot of it, but when this came out, it wasn't too common. Like we didn't have a lot of like horror anime content, like anime wise, maybe manga wise, but not anime wise. Yes, this is Pet Shop of Horrors. I discovered this maybe like a couple years ago. I haven't seen it in a while. It's an OVA series, meaning OVA I think standing for original video animation, and that usually means there may be like many, not many. Well, it could maybe be like I've used the Afro Samurai anime for an example. Afro Samurai only had 5 episodes. 5 episodes was enough to tell the story because the manga was only 2 volumes, and then we had a sequel movie, a pilot from uh, from 2000s. Speaking of Afro Samurai, I did a video about the pilot, one of my first TikTok videos. I will be talking about a fan film that I consider, I think might be lost media and it's probably worth talking about. But anyway, back to Pet Shop of Horrors. So the manga was written by Masatori Aquino. Cool, not familiar with his other work. Um, and you see, I think we had several directors who worked on this series, which is really cool. Hibashi, I mean, he's Hisashi Abe, who did Vampire Hunter D. I'm not sure which one he did because there were 2 Vampire Hunter Ds. Awesome series. I've talked about both movies and the franchise as a whole pretty much a couple months back when I did my anime month. Um, Someone else, Rentaro, who did Final Fantasy, and Yoshiki Kawajiri, who did Biohunter, Ninja Scroll, and Wicked City. All those are banger classic action anime. I might talk about some of those. Those Wicked City, Ninja Scroll, Biohunter, awesome. The person who did Final Fantasy, I'm not sure which one they did. I know there was a Final Fantasy in the 80s, so maybe, or 80s, 90s, so maybe they did that one. Still cool. We had a lot of very talented, well-known anime creator directors working on this series. So, what is Pet Shop of Horrors about? Well, we have our main character, or one of my main characters, Count D, who runs this pet shop where he sells all types of animals. I think like traditional animals that you would see in a real life pet store, and exotic animals as well. And people who buy from him tend to end up getting K-worded in a very tragic or violent fashion, mostly because they didn't follow his directions. Kind of like with for those who've seen Gremlins, when if you were to buy, or I guess really any pet, but if you were to buy an exotic pet from him, he would have a strict rule of instructions you had to follow, and if you broke any of those rules, the outcome could be very, very bad for you. We have a police detective who thinks D is responsible for all these people's grisly, untimely deaths, but of course, there's really no evidence to show that he himself is the one doing it. Um, so the police detective or whatever, him and D kind of spark a friendship. They do kind of form a friendship, which is kind of cool to see. Um, so, like I said, this is basically kind of a horror anthology series. Again, an anime horror anthology, which I guess we got that on Netflix. I forgot I forgot the author's name, but he's a very well known horror author, and he has gotten his own anime adaptation on Netflix, which I've seen a little bit of. Um, yeah, crap, I can't remember his name, but he's very well known. His art is very well known horror mangaka. Um, so, like for starters, we have an episode about a couple whose daughter, her name was Alice, which is um, her name is Alice on purpose. She passes away. I won't spoil why she passed away or how she passed away, but her parents did kind of play a role in her death, unfortunately. So they buy a pet from Count D's pet shop, being a rabbit, and the rabbit looks like their daughter. Um, what? Yeah. So, of course, Count D gives them rules that they have to follow, and basically the same mistakes that they made with their real daughter who passed, they make this. They do the same thing over again with their, I guess, second daughter or pet that looks like their daughter, and it ends very badly. I won't spoil what happens because it is a good, I guess, yeah, plot twist. But it was a good first episode. We have one, I think, where a man like buys a fish or something, and I can't remember how, but I think he ends up getting K-worded by his fish. It's like a fish woman, mermaid type creature or something. Um, the one you see, it may be that one. This with these two characters, that might be the one with the man and the fish. I can't remember. Um, and this one right here, that's a good one too. This one's kind of like a tragic romance type of story. Uh, this man, I think he's an actor. He buys like a gorgon, essentially, like Medusa. You know, Medusa with the snake hair. If you look at her, she'll turn you to stone. Well, his pet, I guess, Gorgon, she wears a blindfold because if she looks at him, he'll be K-worded or whatever. Um, and of course, he doesn't follow D's rules, his instructions, and you can kind of figure out what probably possibly happens. And um, there's a handful of other, stories as well, which are very entertaining. But like I said, this is just a really cool, really neat concept series. I kind of wish they would bring this back. I don't know how many volumes the manga had. The manga did end. I'm not sure when it ended, but so if you're interested, if you really like the show, then I definitely recommend you check out the manga because, like I said, I don't know if the manga had more stories. Yeah, I think it did because I was reading the ending to the manga is very different from the ending in this OVA. So um, probably, like I said, probably worth checking out if you really like this OVA. If you can kind of see all the way up here above the title, above the word horrors, you can see an illustration of Count D a little bit, so get an idea of what he looks like. Um, but like I said, this is a classic horror anime. Definitely worth watching around Halloween time. It's a lot of fun, a lot of messages um, in this anime miniseries. So like I said, yeah, give Pet Shop of Horrors a watch. I definitely recommend it. It should be on YouTube for free. Yeah, because I think that's how I watched it. It's the classic like what 90s anime vibe and style, and like I said, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, go give Pet Shop of Horrors a watch. Like, comment, follow. Uh, Peace, you guys. Hey, your spooky neighborhood geek here doing another horror movie or B horror movie review. This time on the Chilling. I just love that name for whatever reason. It's catchy in my opinion. Yes, this came out. I'm not entirely sure. On IMDb, it says it came out in 1986. Or no, not 86, 1989. But on Google, it says it came out in 92. I think this came out March 11th. Um, This is directed by Dylan Noose. Okay, interesting name. This stars Linda Blair, Dan Haggerty, and Troy Donahue. I'm familiar with Dan Haggerty and Linda Blair. I think Linda Blair is a horror scream queen, and Dan Haggerty has been in a whole bunch of stuff. So if you're more interested in them, you can Google them yourselves. So what is this movie about? Well, funny story. Since like I've said numerous times in these videos, I love B movies. B horror movies are like my favorite genre. Um, excuse me. I first saw this was like the first B movie I saw on YouTube. I've said it in previous videos that there are playlists on YouTube of all different horror movies, good and bad. Um, and this was on the list on one of someone's playlists. I watched it, I really enjoyed it, and it just kind of opened my eyes to all these 80 horror movies I didn't even know about at the time. Um, so yeah, it kind of holds a special place in my heart a little bit. So what is this about? Well, Dan Haggerty's character is a security guard, and Linda Blair is like I'm not sure she's a scientist, but she works at the facility as well. It's a cryogenic facility, so it's a place where they have bodies and they keep them frozen. And I'm not sure if they're trying to do research on like how to bring the people back to life, or I can't remember exactly what was the purpose of having this facility, but on the night of Halloween, yes, this takes place on Halloween, which is very ironic. On the night of Halloween, there's a thunderstorm and lightning strikes the building that is holding the bodies, causing them to turn into zombies. So now we have Linda Blair, Dan Haggerty, and a handful of other characters who are on the premises dealing with the situation and trying to survive the night. It's a lot of fun. I like the setting, and I like the actors, I like the characters, and like I said, I like that it takes place on Halloween. That's just really cool. Um, and like I said, it's just a fun watch. Like I would watch. This is something you would watch late at night, or something if you were having a thunderstorm outside your house, outside your home. This is something you would kind of put on to kind of put you in that feeling or that mood or whatever. Um, but it's really good. Also, I apologize if you hear noise in the background. I'll try to talk over it the best I can. But yeah, I mean the creature design, the zombie designs, they're good, but they do look goofy. But I think that was on purpose, and it adds to the charm of this movie. It's not a bad thing. Um, and I guess, kind of a spoiler, we kind of get like I don't know, if we get like a fake out scare, but we do kind of get like a plot. I mean, a plot twist ending that I wasn't expecting to see. Okay, sorry if you heard some noise in the background. Let's just say we were having technical difficulties. Yeah, I said the ending was, yeah, like a plot twist, I guess. Um, that's really all I can really say about the chilling. I mean, it's cool. It kind of has a little bit of a slow build up, but once it gets to the zombie part, it gets it gets really good. Um, well, like I said, this is just a fun horror movie. I mean, it's cool. Like I said, actors did solid. I like the cinematography. I like the setting. The story was decent, creative. Um, so yeah, I mean, I recommend this movie. It's on YouTube for free. Give it a watch if you're interested. Definitely decide to watch it on Halloween. So yeah, go give The Chilling a watch. Like, comment, follow. Peace, you guys.